Well, yesterday, something that I've been afraid of could happen more and more and more, and that is a car caravan harassed federal agents. All the while, there was also at the same time, too, shots were fired at Border Patrol agents in Little Village in the city of Chicago. Is this what's going to come down to? Full-on violence? Mark my words, it's going to be tit for tat, and people are going to be getting hurt. And I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see residents, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. And in order for there to be an immediate peace in our streets, our leaders need to do the one thing that matters the most. And that goes for President Trump, Governor J.B. Pritzker, Mayor Brandon Johnson, and that is to talk and lead. Lead by example so that all actions are halted for the moment and that there could be peace in the streets, especially during this holiday season. I mean, wouldn't it be nice during this holiday season? But no, we're not going to get that. And this has been seen all over social media right now. Let me go and play this video here. And there's a little bit more to this too. I want to play this video here. This is more so what took place here in Chicago yesterday. Oh, sorry, folks. Let me get that video up again. My apologies.
A developing story, chaos in Little Village as protesters once again confront federal agents conducting immigration enforcement.
The Department of Homeland Security says shots were fired at agents. WGN's Angelica Sanchez tells us how it all unfolded.
Well, what happened here today spanned multiple locations and ended in more than one arrest. Those that call us community home say they've had enough. On Saturday, protesters and neighbors confronted federal agents and Chicago police officers in Little Village. Tensions hit a boiling point near 23rd and Sawyer. But that wasn't the only location. The Department of Homeland Security says Border Patrol agents near 26th and Kedzie were shot at by a male driver in a black Jeep, while others threw paint and bricks. Cell phone video shows agents get out of their vehicle on Kedzie. Employees of nearby businesses tell WGN they sheltered indoors after hearing gunfire and a crash. DHS says the confrontation highlights escalating aggression towards law enforcement.
I'm going to pause here and I'm going to say the same thing that I've been saying since Operation Midway Blitz has been taking place. Right now, there have been a lot of people who have been proudly toting or thinking that they have won, knowing for the fact that the National Guard will not be deployed here in Chicago. Incidents like this will give more fuel to the fire to this administration to deploy the National Guard in Chicago. It's going to happen. Never once did I say, oh, is it now that it's over, it's over. No. It was going to take time. Give it time and it's going to happen. And stuff like this is going to lead to potentially, who knows what, martial law in Chicago. And I don't think the Chicago Police Department are going to go ahead and start arresting commanding officers. The Chicago Police Department superintendent made it very clear that the officers of the Chicago Police Department were not going to interfere or interrupt federal agents or ICE operations in Chicago. So all this hope of somehow the CPD is going to be that line between the civilians and the ICE agents, no. Now, I don't know what Mayor Brandon Johnson is doing and whether or not he's hoping that lawfare is going to take place. Stuff like this will get Trump to act regardless of what a piece of paper says.
Chicago police were called for assistance. We're told an officer conducting traffic control near 26th and Troy was struck by a vehicle and suffered minor injuries. But those who live here accuse federal agents of being aggressive towards them.
These are people terrorizing my community and my Tax dollars are paying for it.
Alderman Byron Siccho Lopez says he asked agents for warrants and identification after hearing they attempted to detain a man in a vehicle with a child inside.
When we arrived here, there was an 11-year-old little girl trying to be dragged by these masked individuals, and the neighbors are trying to surround to make sure that they didn't take her. They didn't take her.
He says witnesses told him agents broke the window of the car.
Look at what they've done to our community since 10 a.m. It's sadness. This is outrageous.
Once federal agents cleared 23rd and Sawyer, protesters turned their attention to remaining CPD officers conducting crowd control.
I want to read this. What kills me is people will do this all day for illegal immigrants and undocumented, but stay on their knees while the government completely F's us all over. And you have to remember how this happened. First of all, the idea of a sanctuary city, it sounds good, but if there is no solid economic plan to take care of an influx of people who probably don't speak the language, unfamiliar with the land and city and everything else in between, unfamiliar with the laws, it's a recipe for disaster. And I get it. Everyone wants to have the feel-good points, the dopamine hit of I'm better than Donald Trump. Well, listen, it's real easy to be better than Donald Trump, okay, as a person-wise. But if you don't have a solid policy plan, you're inviting a lot of pain and suffering. Now, the reason why there's an immigration crisis is because of decades and decades of failed policy decisions, wars, sanctions, coups, the war on drugs. It's going to lead to a disaster where, hey, you have an unstable environment and a rational person will not want to live in that area. We have to change that foreign policy so that maybe, I don't know, there could be peace in those lands, so that there could be peace. No drug cartels, no tyrants, no dictators, no oppressors. What a sight that would be. And second of all, when you have politicians, Democrats and Republicans here in the United States playing this back and forth game, well, then, of course, these sanctuary cities were going to be put to the test. Most notably by the governor of Florida and the Texas governor, sending an influx of migrants to Chicago and other sanctuary cities. There was no plan. And on top of that, now you have this mass group of people into which, I did a panel with Nick Thompson and Jamal Green. And when we had Jamal Green on the show, like the reason why a lot of these migrants were sent here to this city is it was done so by our politicians. They were put in predominantly in the Southwest Side neighborhoods. We played on the show before of residents upset and yelling at city council members, most notably Mayor Brandon Johnson. This city is now $1.1 billion in the hole. And what we are seeing here, it's rough to look at. I don't want to see anybody be manhandled and detained like this. But because there was no plan, because there was no action, because there was no leadership, because there was no foresight into thinking that, oh, hey, there's a good chance that maybe Biden and Kamala could lose this, we are stuck here now with this madness. And it's all coming to a head now. And if there's further violence on both sides, it's going to lead to potentially the Guard. Who knows? Maybe reservists being deployed here in the city. Is this what we want? We're playing into a game that none of us are prepared for the consequences and repercussions, and everyone's going to forget how we got here.
Our cameras captured more than one protester taken into custody. It's been 2 months since the Trump administration launched Operation Midway Blitz. Those who live here say they've had enough.
I'm asking them to de-escalate.
Yeah, they should
I
de-escalate.
live here. My daughter goes to school here. We're trying to go shopping. I went to Walgreens. It's ridiculous. It's enough already. This needs to stop.
Now, CPD says no federal agents were injured during the shots fired investigation, that DHS is handling the investigation. It's unclear how many people were detained today. Reporting in Little Village, Angelica Sanchez, WGN News.
Now, look, I want to read one of these comments here. As one of Kit's few conservative fans, hey, how you doing? I understand some ugliness would be involved with deportations, but I have to admit it's far worse than I pictured. Yes, this is terrible. I want to be clear on this. What we are seeing here is terrible. And the way you see ICE handling crowd control, my God, who taught him that? That's terrible. So no wonder people are getting upset. So you got ICE failing miserably at crowd control. We pointed it out in the Jimmy Dore show. Okay, the way they were doing that, terrible, stupid. At 63rd and Kaiser, my God, thank goodness it didn't escalate even further. But I fear that we've crossed that Rubicon. I know I like using that word a lot, but we might have crossed that Rubicon, a point of no return, where this city could face a lot of problems. And right now, it's the winter months. But that's not calming people down. And once it gets to spring and summer here in Chicago for 2026, I dread to think what the layout of the land will be if nothing is stopped right now. I understand that Trump made his policy arrangement of, hey, we're going to deport migrants, we're going to deport the immigrants. That was his policy decision. Voters voted for him. He won on November 5th, 2024. It is what it is. But right now, what is happening in this city is unacceptable. And the mayor of Chicago, the governor of Illinois, and the president of the United States need to stop this now before more people could potentially get hurt or lose their lives. And that goes for everyone. Because once there's blood in the streets, everyone is going to want their pound of flesh. And Chicago will be a war zone. And that's only 2026 we're talking about. Can you imagine if things get far worse, the intensification of the political game that we'll be seeing for 2027? We think New York City was an up and down roller coaster. If what I fear is coming true, Chicago will be a hotbed for political action, and it will be all eyes on this city. 2019 and 2023, low voter turnout. In the 2024 election cycle, 2 districts in Chicago turned red. This is more historic and more significant than anyone can care to imagine, because it doesn't happen in Chicago. Something like that does not happen. And with the overall resentment for Mayor Brandon Johnson, who is at very low approval rating, the fact that he's more despised than Lightfoot, I mean, it says a lot right now. I can imagine the people who are going to be stepping up into the game, because people are going to want answers. This city is $1.1 billion in the hole. People are going to be struggling this year with the government shutdown. It's all good. All these problems in 2025 will follow this city in 2026. So yes, I am deeply concerned. A little afraid here too, because we don't have leaders using their brain cells and actually doing the thing that should be expected the most, and that is calm down. Calm down, reason. But we're not getting that. This is only a highlight of some of the videos here, but Quantum Alchemist, you said it's a miracle that nothing major has escalated so far. So far, but I see it happening, and I don't want it to happen. And I've been on a couple people's shows giving this warning that if things are not calmed down, and I've even spoke to a lot of people across the political spectrum, from good friend of the show, Larry Sharp, Michael Voss, talked it over with Jimmy Dore from the Jimmy Dore Show, and so many other great content creators, that if things are not calmed down in Chicago, that it's going to get worse and the guard will be deployed. Now, this is going to be a big, major shakeup for this city. So when you say it's a miracle, yeah, it is. But this looks like the opening act. And I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. No, Barnes, I don't think I'll be listened to because I'm censored. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? the opening act.